Hello and welcome to That Sports Gamer Show, episode number 84
Finally.
for Monday, February 10th, 2014. As you can tell, I'm joined by none other than Roll Tide Rich Grisham.
What's happening, TJ? How you doing, man?
I am doing well, except for the way too much snow outside. And also joined by Corey Andrus from GoodGameBro.com.
Hi everybody. I'm a freezing Canadian up here, and what you consider snow, I think we probably laugh at because I'm buried under about 8 feet of it right now.
It's nice though, right? Beautiful, get to go play in it.
Absolutely not nice at all. In fact, I want to escape it. I'm going on vacation in like a month. I'm leaving. I'm done.
I think more important than the snow is that I was able to properly say your last name correctly in one shot.
And that's actually the first time I think I've been on. I think this is my fourth or fifth episode now I've been on, and this is the first time you've done that. So congratulations.
I'd like to thank myself for being possibly one of the best podcast hosts out there. I don't get to say easy names like good. Right?
Like some of us.
Some people get easy names. I get these hard ones. So guys, I really don't care what you've been playing recently because we have a lot of stuff to talk about. So, I'm sorry for that. The biggest news since the last episode was that we found out that EA has re-upped their license with the NFL for the Madden title for at least a couple years, though they didn't really give a lot of details. Rich Grisham,
Yo.
are you super excited to be playing Madden for the foreseeable future?
Well, as somebody who doesn't hate EA or Tiburon's Madden games from the last few years, I don't know that I would use the word excited. I certainly am enjoying the next generation version of Madden that I think puts them on a solid foundation for some really good stuff moving forward. So I am glad that they are going to have the opportunity. I mean, it would have been kind of weird or unfortunate had Madden gone the way of NCAA football if somebody had swooped in and taken the exclusive license from them. While a lot of people would welcome it, I think what everybody wants is competition as opposed to a monopoly. So what I'm hoping is that somebody else can also start making a game, if for no other reason than just to get a couple different options out there.
Beautifully put, Rich. Corey, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
How disappointed are you that there is not going to be NFL 2K15?
Well, I mean, like Rich, I mean, I think competition's obviously what everyone wants to see at some point. I mean, competition makes our games better. Obviously, there's a lot of people out there that miss the NFL 2K series. I did enjoy it. I've always been more of a Madden player than an NFL 2K player, so I'm not really one of those people that's sitting out here waiting for it to come back. I just think it's important for people to realize that, to see a big title like that come back with a big license, it takes a lot of work and a lot of money. I just don't know if 2K if it is 2K is willing to go out there and put all this money and resources into rebuilding all their graphic designs, all their, they'd have to go out and, obviously take pictures of all the stadiums. There's so much work that goes into these games, and I think that's another reason why we aren't seeing a quick return for MVP baseball from EA. Same reasons, how much money they're going to have to spend on the license, and then how profitable is it after you have to go out and build this engine and go out and get all these resources to build your game. I just don't think it's feasible when you're talking about big licensed sports games anymore, and it doesn't really shock me that Madden's holding on to it, and it doesn't really bother me either. I mean, like Rich, I enjoyed this year's game. I thought next gen made some decent leaps, so I'm hoping that they can just keep it rolling and give us some good products over the years.
Yeah, I agree. I feel even just all the little stuff that's in next gen Madden coming together from the 360 version is just leaps and bounds beyond what was there back then. Like, I played a ton of games of Ultimate Team on the 360 version, and PS4 literally just blows it out of the water almost every time I play it, except for those times when I'm playing AJ from EA Sports, and his Mike Vick obviously gets tackled and then runs away for like 80-yard touchdowns, but I mean, you can't help that sometimes. But yeah, I don't think people really understood how much it would really cost another developer to come in and do something like a new football game from scratch. And I think a lot of people were really confused about that, because just the license alone would be, I don't even want to know how many millions. But they haven't EA hasn't really given the details, so we don't know if the third-party license is locked up to them, right? It's just saying that they have a license to put out football games.
Well, this is what I don't understand, and I've said this before. EA is a public company; they have to disclose all sorts of information. I don't understand how this kind of stuff is allowed to be hidden behind this firewall. Like they get to pick and choose. Okay, well, we'll release our financials, but we won't say how much the license costs, or we will, disclose how much money we made on Ultimate Team, but we won't tell you whether the license is exclusive or not. Like I'm not a accountant, but I don't get
Wait, do
how
you
they're
play one
able.
on TV?
No, I just, and it's I'm an investor as well. Like I'm not a direct, like I don't buy EA stock, but we all probably have 401ks. Although in Canada, I don't know what they are, but we are all, we all have retirement accounts and stuff like that. And so I'm sure EA is somewhere in our portfolio. Just it's weird. I don't get how they get to just pick and choose what they can talk about and what they can't. It's weird.
I think we can all. I mean, from my end, I can see maybe the NFL taking a stance in that. Maybe they're trying to hide the information. I don't really necessarily could understand why they would want to do that, but I know, just discussing things in studio and with folks at EA before, the NFL. I mean, they have a laundry list of rules and regulations that they have to follow to stay in line with this license. And I mean, I don't know if the monetary details is one thing they have to abide to, but that could be something too.
But like even the NFL, I mean, they disclose how much money their TV deals are. They just announced a TV deal the other day that CBS now has the Thursday night games. They said exactly how much it's for, how long it is. Like, I don't know if just no one's asking the right questions to the right people. I mean, I'm sure people ask. Again, it's weird how they get to say, nope, not telling you that when they're a public company and they have to disclose all sorts of information. I don't get it.
Yeah, good point.
Do you think, Rich Grisham, this is the most important question for you as a daily traveler?
Mm-hmm.
Now that they have the license locked up for a while, do you think we will get another Madden on Vita?
No, I don't think you'll see a Madden on anything but PS3, 360, PS4, and Xbox One at all. I mean, no Vita, no Wii U, no nothing. They're only going where it makes sense financially, and those are the only consoles, the only platforms that make any sense at all.
Did they put out an iOS version this year or no?
It
Yes.
was not like they had before. It was some sort of a hybrid kind of a game.
They started like dumbing it down to, because Tiger on iOS was always actually pretty decent. Ooh, iOS and Android. I think it's on my phone now that I think about it. But that's what I need is a new PS Vita game because there's nothing to play right now except for Ollie Ollie.
Well, there's some good stuff coming out for the Vita. There's a motocross game coming out, and obviously MLB The Show. I think you probably heard of that, TJ. At some point, it's coming out.
I've heard of it. I just don't know if/when it's ever coming out. But Corey, you want to say something?
Well, no, I just think that like Rich said, I think you're only going to see the viable platforms come out, and when it just speaking on the show, the one thing I worry about with MLB The Show is now that we're going to get a PS4 version of MLB, or at least we think we are. What does that do to the Vita version? Because I remember last year there being a lot of reports that they had sort of maxed out the amount of space they had on the Vita cards. And they couldn't include all the features that they could on the PS3 version. So now that we're jumping up again to the PS4 version, what does that mean for the Vita version? Are we going to get a dumbed down title on that? And that's, I think, the big thing we have to look at with titles now that are coming to the Vita. Do these titles make sense now on that platform when they just become so much more bigger, memory, space, disk size, all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to Vita over the years now that games have taken another jump up.
Well, I'm an outlier on this. People love to get outraged about things like the FIFA game not having any improvements, just being a roster update. I am perfectly fine if MLB The Show every year moving forward on the Vita is basically the same game, because the game that came out last year was terrific.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to move my franchise back and forth from my PS3 to my Vita and back and forth. And now that you got remote play, I can, if I'm in my house, I can actually play my PS4, the show on my Vita, assuming that all works. Like with sports games on handhelds, you're not going to have the same potential for significant or even incremental improvement most years. Like the FIFA game on the Vita, I love it. And yeah, I mean, do they charge too much for a roster update? Probably. But if you go in with your eyes wide open, which you should be because they're not even hiding anymore, they call it like, the
Was it
legendary legacy. There you go. Right. So I thought the show was terrific last year, and if it's the same game this year with updated rosters and schedules and the ability to remote play and still move all my stuff around, I'm totally fine with that. Just be honest about it. Let us know that that's what the deal is, because again, they have, as you said, Corey, they've pretty much maxed out what they can do. So I don't want to see more. I don't want to see something get added in lieu of removing something else. Just keep giving me the game, be clear on what it is, and let's go. I mean, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think the thing last year was the postseason mode. Like the audio alone was like 3
Right.
gigs,
Right.
and I think the PS Vita cards were 3 or 4 gigs.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Now, can't they? Right. And they could potentially offer larger density cards and things like that. But again, I mean, you're only going to get so much on a handheld. You don't have the same options on a handheld that you do on a console. That's just it's not the same way to build and deploy games. People shouldn't expect it to be the same.
yeah, and I think it would be stupid to play the Vita version without having some sort of console version to go with it. And if the Vita version literally just became this extension of your console version to take your Road to the Show guy or your franchise away for a couple days or a weekend, I mean, I think that would be perfectly fine with people. Or at
Couldn't
least
agree more.
the hardcore people that are going to be buying this on multiple consoles, which I think is pretty much the only people that are really buying this game anymore.
Yeah, I just think the only thing I would worry about in that case is that once these modes start to lean more towards being online, what happens then? How do you build those modes into Vita versions? Like I wonder how long they can keep up the, like the carrying over the saves and having sort of one season on both consoles, because if MLB decides, okay, we're going to make our mode more towards online friendly, then that sort of starts hurting the Vita version in that circumstance. So, it'll be interesting to see how they play out over the next few years and to see what these what ends up happening to these franchise modes, because as we see with NBA 2K, they completely revamped it to the point where it's basically a different mode than it was on current gen. So we'll see what each sports title does in the future to change their modes up, and if that'll affect handhelds.
I would imagine because it's Sony, they will take the most care to ensure that it remains viable on all the platforms as long as possible. That they desperately, the Vita, for all of the fun that gets made of it by many people, remains a marginally profitable but yet a profitable enterprise for Sony, and it is an extension of the PlayStation 4, and I think they will do what they can to ensure that it continues to be viable, and the show as a crown jewel of their, maybe not from a sales perspective, but certainly from a pride perspective, and it certainly drives the sales of the systems to at least a vocal, minority group of people. I got a feeling we'll be fine for at least a couple of years before we start to see any sort of divergence.
I feel like Rich just called me vocal and a minority all in one shot.
Well, it's true, It is true.
All right. Well, speaking of games with online modes like that, master of the segue over here. Guys, how excited are you for 2014 FIFA World Cup Brazil? Corey, as a huge FIFA fan, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you said it for me. I'm a massive FIFA addict. I mean, I just put loads and loads of hours in this game on my PS4, on my Xbox One, pretty much on every system I have. And so obviously I knew this title was going to be something we were going to see. I was highly disappointed not to see it on next gen consoles. In fact, I think it's a pretty major mistake on EA's part, because I think there's a lot of folks, especially when you talk about hardcore FIFA community, and that's your YouTubers, your Ultimate Team guys, that frankly they aren't going to go back to current gen consoles to play this game. Because there's been so many gameplay improvements on the next gen version that going backwards is something that I think a lot of people won't be ready to tolerate. But with that said, for myself personally, I'm still looking forward to it. I mean, I think the World Cup games you have to look at them a little differently than you look at FIFA, because I mean FIFA is more for the hardcore soccer community, whereas in these World Cup games they have a lot more of a casual audience. A lot more people will just go out there and buy the game knowing the World Cup's on. They want to play through the tournament. So I think what they did was they just decided to take sort of you know, a look at that and go, look, this is for our casual community. This isn't for our hardcore guys. And obviously, this is a game that's going to cost them a lot of money with licensing, with just creating another title mid-development cycle in between the two FIFAs. So they just put it on current gen consoles. But I mean, I'm still excited for it. Like, I'm still going to play it. I'm excited for the World Cup. So I'm all in.
Rich?
Well, I'm disappointed, but I'm understand it. You know, you got to wonder what would their maximum sell-through be of a game on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4? 750,000, 800,000, and that's probably optimistic. So it makes a lot of sense. I would love to see something, even if it's not a full World Cup game on the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One, but perhaps even just a downloadable option to play the tournament, because obviously Electronic Arts has the license for the World Cup. So something would be cool. Now, I know what they are, and I wanted to ask you about this specifically, TJ. They have talked about a whole bunch of Ultimate Team stuff related to the World Cup. I have no idea what that means. Do you know what they're sort of getting at, and are you excited about what World Cup options will be available for the PS4 and the Xbox One related to Ultimate Team?
I think the majority of the stuff is just going to be like tournaments in Ultimate Team, which, I mean, that doesn't really excite me as an Ultimate Team player. And I think I've pretty much come to the point this year where I'm kind of done with FIFA already, just because Madden Ultimate Team's taken up so much of my life.
Mm-hmm.
But
could this get you back into it if it's something unexpected?
I mean, I don't know what amazing thing they could do other than just the normal tournaments they have, and I assume the restrictions on the tournaments would just be you have to play as one entire country or a team of players from different countries. I mean, that's the only two tournament rules I could assume they would set up. I don't really know what they could do inside of Ultimate Team other than that.
I'm really debating whether I'm going to pick up the game or not. I love international soccer. I love the World Cup.
Wait, Rich, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
When you say that you're debating picking it up, is that your I purchase and play video game side of your brain, or the I talk about and write about video game side of your brain?
Well, I generally don't review a lot of soccer games. I occasionally get a review for an outlet here or there. So it's possible that I could be assigned review coverage of the game. So, but let's assume that doesn't happen, right? Let's assume that, you know, it's the April. There's obviously a ton of games coming out in March and April of also, you know, all across the board, not just sports, right? So there may not even be coverage of the game from a lot of general places that I write for. So I'm going to be probably, you know, I'll be playing a whole bunch of stuff. The show will be out, obviously. I don't know if I'm going to, you know, on the 360, if just me as a guy who loves sports video games, I don't know if it's going to have the appeal. I'm not saying it won't. I don't know. It'll be interesting where I am in, you know, with what's going on with baseball. Obviously, for Press Row, there's some, perhaps I might pick it up to have discussions on it. But I don't know. It just kind of feels like if it's a 360 game and it just doesn't seem like it's going to have that same sort of buzz around it that it would have had we seen it on the next gen console. So like right now, I'm very iffy on it, but we'll see.
And do you still have your? I know you have your PS3 hooked up. Do you have your Xbox 360 hooked up?
Oh yeah, I play.
Oh, because you play the
regularly.
Fourth String League, right?
Absolutely. No, I'm not in the Fourth String anymore. But I do reviews on it right now. I'm reviewing a game as we speak. And my son plays a lot of the games that he plays are still on the 360, like Minecraft and Portal 2. So it's still hooked up, and I play it, turn it on regularly.
And Corey, you wouldn't be one of those crazy guys that sold all their old consoles to buy new consoles, would you?
I sold my PS3 in order to help me fund some of the new consoles I got, but I still have my 360. My daughter loves Disney Infinity, so she's constantly playing that. And I'm a big Telltale fan, so I've been playing the Wolf Among Us and The Walking Dead on there. So I kept it basically for that. And I mean I will pick up this World Cup game. I think another reason I want to pick it up is I think with the World Cup game, you start to see little tidbits of information of things that will be changed in the next FIFA. So, I mean, I know they talked about, quicker passing. They talked about better set pieces. So now on corner kicks, free kicks, you're going to see a lot more strategic elements put in that where you can move your players and such. And it's going to sound weird, but I'm actually really excited for the audio. They talked about having 50 hours of just in-game audio, just commentary. So like they have the Men in Blazers guys in there. I don't know if you guys ever listen to their podcast.
Of course, they're
Fans,
Everton fans. Who wouldn't?
yeah, fantastic, fantastic podcast they run, and to have them in the game, that's amazing too. So, I mean, those little tidbits of information are enough to get me in, just
Yeah.
to see if those things will be added to the next FIFA next year. So,
Well, and that's why I say that I'm not out on it. I'm done. I'm not definitely in. I'm not definitely out. I mean, a lot will be going on at that point in time. So when that game comes out, I mean, will the show have been out for 2 weeks, right?
Will the
I
show
be
not
like
have been
just
out for another month?
will the show not be a great point, right? Like, there's a bunch of games coming out in March that are going to be big. Like, it'll really, for me, just come down to, what is happening right now. Is there a legitimate chance that I will spend more than a few hours with it? And that's the thing. Like, I still have launched PlayStation 4 games that I have not touched. I have not played Need for Speed Rivals. I have not played Battlefield 4. Um, I mean, so that's the other thing. I really just need, and it's not necessarily because I don't want to. It's just there's just not a whole lot of time, and I take every possible review that I can get. So a lot of games that I play are not for fun. So, long story short, it'll be very much a, pardon the pun, a game time decision. And maybe if I don't get it when it comes out, but maybe if it goes on sale, like right when the World Cup kicks off, because I don't know when that is, but I think it's not right when the game comes out. There's a lot of factors in there.
Yeah, I have right now the way my office is set up. I have my PS4 in here, and I have my 360 in here. But I think Xbox Live is going to run out in the end of March or early April, and then I'm pretty much done with 360. And my PS3 has now become like my media device in my living room, and it only comes in here Wednesday nights for the Player One Podcast Racing League.
Right.
So if I was gonna get, the problem is all my friends that play FIFA all play it on 360, and I'm not gonna re-up Xbox Gold again.
Well, you just need to get some wealthier friends.
Well, yeah, we all know the PS3 is a far superior machine, as proven by sales numbers. But and I also am a little. It's weird because the PS4, like I said, I mean, well, I guess we weren't actually recording when I said it, but the changes to Madden from last gen to this gen, or I still hate this whole thing, from current gen to next gen, were nice, and they were also nice in FIFA.
Yes.
But now I feel like we're going back to a game that wasn't as good as the new game, and it's going to be a little bit better. But will that little bit better be better than the next gen version?
Well, see, but it's another great point, TJ. Like, you and I are sort of in the same place right now with FIFA. Neither of us are playing it. What I've settled into on my PS4 is our awesome Press Row Madden League, which is just spectacular, and my NBA 2K14 career. Like, I play those two games. One of those two games is what I play every day. On the treadmill. If I'm not playing a human in our Press Row League, I'll do my practice and my game on the treadmill. If that's not happening, I'll play my career on the treadmill, which is like the vast majority of my gaming time. FIFA is just not right now in the rotation. It was my top game when the systems first came out, but I'm just not nearly as good at it as I am Madden and NBA 2K. And it's not that I need to be really good at something to have fun, but I get extremely frustrated with FIFA because I'm just not good, and I haven't been able to invest the time to get good at it, or good enough to have nearly as much fun as I do when I'm playing Madden or NBA 2K14. So, that's the other thing. But, Corey, on the other hand, is probably in a different space. Obviously, you're playing in our Madden league, but it sounds like you're still playing FIFA, on a regular basis.
Well, yeah, definitely. Like I play it every day almost, and I mingle in between online. I play some of my offline career, but I mean, you make some good points. I think one of the big reasons why I think a lot of more of the people that play every sports game out there, the reason they're starting to put FIFA down is because there really is a huge lack of online functionality with your career mode. I think, when we look at these games now that are out on these next gen platforms or current gen platforms, whatever you want to call them, you know, I continually look at Madden now and think, when that game first came out, I think a lot of people underappreciated it just for the simple fact that it had, connected franchise mode. It
Right.
was the only sports game giving us, really competitive, fun, exciting online career modes.
Mm-hmm.
And every other game is lacking that feature right now. And I think for FIFA, in order to capture a at least the audience in North America, to capture their longevity and capture their attention, they have to have an online manager or career mode. And I think if they have that, then I think everybody's playing FIFA still, and I think everyone's still trying to get better at FIFA because you want to be in those leagues. Because, like you said, when we get into a league that's a lot of fun with people that you enjoy playing with, it's a blast. It makes the game a lot better and a lot more fun to play. So, I think each game is going to have to improve that going forward.
But here's the problem, and I mean, well, the problem is that Tiburon, and EA are not making any money at all off of us playing in their online connected franchise mode. Like we bought the game, so they got the $60, or they got our money from that. FIFA there's really no financial reason for them to put in the equivalent of the online Premier League, because their ultimate team dominates. Like, will they, all of the time and the money and the effort that it would take to put in a mode like that, they would get very little to maybe a small sales bump, but honestly, would it be nearly enough to justify the cost? As opposed to, if they continue to add more to their ultimate team, it will just continue to print money. And I'm not even saying that as a cynical person. I'm just saying that as like a business guy. I'm like, man, to be able to have the Press Row Premier League would be spectacular. It would just be amazing. Now, it's a lot easier to do something like that with Madden when you got 32 teams and a really finite number of players. To do something similar to that in FIFA would be, they'd really have to come up with some pretty interesting ways to make it compelling for people who aren't hardcore fans. But long story short is, I'll be shocked if they do. I'll be delighted if they put in something like that, but I'll be shocked just because their business model doesn't really support that.
Let's just blame it on the obvious problem. Transfers are too hard for anybody in the world to understand. I've tried to do just a regular career mode.
Oh my god!
And after 2 weeks of just dealing with transfers, never even getting on the field, I'm like, all right, we're good here.
Yeah,
we can go back to Ultimate Team and do something else.
And it's another reason that I put FIFA down. Like, I'm having a pretty good offline year with Everton, but I can't do anything without my scouts constantly bothering me and all this stuff. I'm like, I just want to play the games, and I used to be able to, in the old FIFA, just be able to go to the tournament thing and create a season and just play a season. And it's just that, again, I love international soccer. I love the Premier League. I love Everton. I really do, but I just don't know enough about the players and around the world and all this stuff to be. Heck, I barely even know the NFL guys. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't. But I've at least got a puncher's chance to understand some things. And in FIFA, it's just such a massive amount of people and places around the world. It's just too much for a lot of folks, myself included.
Rich, can I tell you a really good way to learn who's in the NFL?
Yes.
There's this mode in Madden called Ultimate Team. You can know everybody. Do you know who Orlando Franklin is? I
No.
do. He's got way good run block skills. It's like a 91. He plays for the Broncos, apparently. He's a beast. That's literally how I learned all the soccer players that I know. Just from playing foot.
And even with all that being said, every time I put in FIFA, I'm just like, wow, this is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, especially on the PS4. Sounds great, looks amazing, plays great. There's just something that's keeping me from putting it in more often than I do the other ones.
I might be mistaken, but is there not a way to turn off the initial transfer window when you play a FIFA career mode?
Oh, I turned it off. Trust me.
Okay.
Oh, there is? Nice. I should try that sometime.
But you still got to send your scouts there, and they still send you all these notifications, and then comes January and that transfer window. And again, I get it. I mean, that's what needs to be there because, FIFA fans demand it. And I'm at least now have a slight understanding now that I've really been following the Premier League for a few years. Like, at least I get it, right? Mm-hmm. I know that there's a secondary transfer window in January. Like, I know that transfers happen as the season sort of starts in the first couple of weeks, but so I at least get that. It's just, there's a lot to sift through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm happy it's there because in my FIFA career mode, I use Manchester United. I'm a hardcore Reds fan, and I pretty much traded or sold every single player on my team because we sucked this year, and so I wanted to live vicariously through my FIFA game and sell everybody so I could rebuild my team. Because the way it stands currently, I'm gonna have to wait till the summer to see that happen.
We should also probably say that there's going to be a Road to FIFA World Cup mode, a Captain Your Country mode, the Road to Rio online FIFA World Cup, the story of qualifying, story of the finals, which will be online, and additional modes. I mean, this is all pretty much the same stuff that was in 10 for the most part. And
there's a lot there. There's a lot.
Yeah, and
it is no quick cash in.
Yeah, 2010 FIFA World Cup South Africa is literally the game that got me back into FIFA. I had played in like 01, 02, 03, and then I stopped for 7 years. But then 2010 South Africa came out, and I've been back in. I've been loving every year of FIFA since then. So
it's an amazing game. I mean, it is wonderful in a lot of ways. I'm an ugly American. I understand the NFL and the NBA a lot more than I do international soccer. Yeah. That's what it comes down to.
Some of the presentational elements sound amazing though. Like they said there was a quick camera cut-ins of people celebrating in home countries. So like if you're England, you're playing the World Cup, you score a goal in Brazil, it'll quickly cut to like Wembley Field in London where all the England fans are watching it.
Nice.
And you'll see them all celebrating. Like just little things like that they add into these in-between titles that really amaze me. I think like that's what I'm interested in. I want to see this stuff because once the tournament comes in June, that's when I'm going to get really excited to play this game. I don't know if I'll play it right away in April.
Right.
It's sort of a weird time for it to come out. Like you said, Rich, tons of games coming out. There's Infamous, MLB, Titanfall, all kinds of stuff. But, come June, once everything sort of calms down a bit and that World Cup hits, everyone's going to be really pumped up. So,
and it's going to be on sale too, right? There are going to be deals for it. There's going to be ways to get it. And it's like, oh, well, okay, now it's the international calendar is now finished, right? Somebody's won the Premier League, somebody's won the Serie A, and all of a sudden, oh yeah, the World Cup's coming. Hey, look, World Cup game. I could definitely see something like that happening.
Yeah, and I'll be ready to destroy you guys all within the Netherlands. I don't know if you guys know, we swept the 5,000 meter speed skating thing. Just saying.
I was watching the downhill tonight. Good Lord.
The ski jumping? Or the fast one?
Downhill, yeah. Oh,
my
God.
That just looks like they're going to die.
Yes, it does. I was a young lad. I went to Whiteface Mountain up in Lake Placid where they had the Olympics back in 1980. And I went down one of the runs that they had for the men's downhill. You do not understand how steep those are. Like on TV, they look really, they don't look nearly as steep as they actually are. What those guys are doing in that downhill at the speeds and the angles that they're traveling is just absolutely insane. Craziness.
Though I'm pretty sure after my time with the Wii Fit board, I could whoop all these guys into the ski jumping. used to do that thing so perfectly. It was beautiful. But that new thing, slopestyle, looks pretty cool. They should need to make a good Olympic game. I don't know
Yeah.
who would do it, or if anybody actually could do it with the whole variety of things in the game.
Well, it's a little late now, so.
Well, hey, we can always still go back out and pick up Mario and Sonic go to the Olympics.
Where's the next Winter Olympics? Anybody?
Rich, you're asking questions that...
Hopefully somewhere with better hotel rooms.
Yeah. Did you guys ever play 2 Extreme on the PS1?
No.
No.
Nah, such a good game.
I'm Canadian. All I care about is the hockey. Just give me the hockey. I think actually it was on the Press Row podcast. I was listening to this, and I think it was Kat that mentioned this. I don't understand why NHL isn't putting out a DLC.
Right.
Just give me the Olympic tournament. It
I
makes
said it
no
too.
sense.
Absolutely.
Well, it probably costs a lot to get those rings in your game.
Yeah, but maybe not, right? I mean, nobody else does it, you know? So, I mean, again, I guarantee you that we are not the first. Like, I'm sure somebody up at EA Canada did go, oh, man, I wish we would have thought of that. I'm sure phone calls were made, emails were exchanged, and like you say, TJ, they probably just wanted too much money.
Yeah, you know what it probably is? It's probably something with, if you remember UEFA 2012,
Oh,
I think
yes.
it was. You'd probably end up having a lot of teams with not real rosters.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you pay for the licenses, you're trying to pay for the uniforms, the teams,
Yeah.
the players, and then it becomes one of those things where how much can you charge for the DLC to make your money back? What can you include in it to make it cost efficient for everybody?
Yeah.
And I assume most of them still have amateur status, so that would be a problem, like they have with NCAA games, and
Oh yeah,
it would just become a mess.
I don't know. The NHL has tons of real players in real leagues, not just from the NHL, but also from the European leagues too. They have more than enough players
Right.
to make it happen. I think it, like you said, it probably just came down to there's just it doesn't make financial sense.
And the answer is Pyeongchang. I think I'm saying that right. Pyeongchang, South Korea.
I was say Korea. Okay, interesting.
That would be 2014.
So
2018.
yet another Winter Olympics where everything will be happening in the middle of the night.
A day ahead of us.
I'll tell you, that's why the Vancouver games were great, because you could actually watch things live in prime time.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
yeah. The World Cup's going to be like that this summer too.
Yes.
Being in Brazil, it's going to
Yes.
be perfect timing for
Oh,
everybody.
yes.
So
Yeah,
good stuff.
as somebody as you are, Corey, with young children,
Yeah.
to be able to watch those games at night after they go to bed, perfect.
Yeah, it's going to be wonderful.
Sticking on the soccer subject, Pro Evolution Soccer 2015 is going to be totally changed. Are you excited?
Just like this last year's was as well.
Fox Engine 2.0, next gen Fox Engine. Rich,
What I found
get in the
interesting-
box.
What I find interesting about this is they're adding a English development studio to this, which to me screams presentation. Because as good as Pro Evo played on the pitch was as mind-numbingly bad as the navigation of it was. In addition to the fact that it took them like a month and a half to get some of the online functionality working on the 360. So, I'm again, it comes to competition right now. Pro Evo is no competition to FIFA in most markets, and anything they can do. And it's interesting too, because they have the Champions League license, for example. Not being able to exploit that is interesting. So hopefully the presentation, and maybe kind of Corey, what you're talking about, maybe if EA won't do online franchise, maybe Pro Evo comes out and does something like that, gives us an option to where, hey, you know what? Here's a reason for us to go get this game. But yeah, getting that English studio to me screams like, okay, well, we have to westernize this game, because too many people are telling us they can't figure out what the heck to do.
And just being in touch with the UK market, having people that are actually there to focus on it, having the Champions League license and everything, but trying to develop a game for those people from a world away, probably not the easiest thing.
Yeah, and I'm, to be honest, I'm not sure if the I can't remember my years, but I'm pretty sure that Champions League license actually ran out in the 2014 season, if I'm not mistaken. I know it was running out soon. It's either with the 14 or the 15 version. So that's something that could still be up in the air. We're not sure if, at least I'm not sure if they even have that license, in their name yet. But this announcement sort of it throws me off a bit because I thought Pro Evolution Soccer 14 was actually a really solid title on the pitch.
Yeah, it was
You know,
definitely.
and so I mean I think PES is sort of in that situation right now that almost similar to what NBA Live is. They're going up against a competitor that pretty much has everything in their game. Obviously the next gen NBA 2K took a bit of a some critical criticism, but before that, I mean, NBA Live's trying to go up against this monster, and Pro Evolution is almost in the same situation. They have to go up against a game that's accessible. It's accessible to casual players and hardcore players. It has every mode you can think of, other than the online career mode. It's going up against a monster that is, in name alone will sell millions of copies. So when you get into that situation, you know, you, how much of this game is, you know, can be remained if they don't have the money to produce it, and if they're not selling copies, obviously the license they have costs a lot of money. You know, when is it viable to release a product that goes up against its competitor like it does? What does this mean? Will it be totally changed? Is it accessibility? Is it user interface? Or are they going to make the game a little more casual? Is it going to become a little more arcade friendly? Who knows at this point? Because, I thought they had a really good product with 14. And so I have, with this announcement, I have really no idea what they're going to do.
Yeah, I also agree. I mean, the product to me was inferior to FIFA, but not dramatically inferior.
No.
This was not an NBA Live versus NBA 2K14 situation. I also know that when I spoke with one of the Konami reps before the game came out on the Press Row podcast, he was very clear that the game is profitable, right? It's not crushing the sales figures or anything like that, but it is within the bounds of its economics. It is a moneymaker. What I think is that if there were two great basketball games, you would have seen great sales for two great basketball games. I think with Pro Evo, if the game is great, you will also see sales improve. And when I say great, I mean when you put in the game, and Corey, you know this, right? I mean, you put the game in, and it looks like a PlayStation 2 era game. And if all of a sudden you put in a game and it looks like a next generation game, and you can understand, wow, here's how I do this, and you see one or two kind of modes that are something different than you've got, I think the word would get around, and I think Pro Evo would do well. Not that it did or did not do well. I don't think it did very well. With soccer, it's so popular around the world. I got to imagine that there's a big enough market to where enough people would buy two soccer games if they were both great. You know what I mean? Like I think plenty of people would have picked up NBA Live if it was great. And I think the same thing would happen with Pro Evo.
And at least NBA Live has all of the licenses that you need, while Pro
Yeah.
Evo is still falling short in a lot of what are those things called? Divisions.
But I mean,
Yeah, they don't have the Premier League. They do have La Liga. They do have Serie A. But yeah, they clearly do not have anywhere close to the licenses that obviously FIFA does. Sorry, Court, I mean to cut you off.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. I mean, the one thing to add on to that, the teams they do have some teams in the Premier League. The ones that do make the Champions League, they are allowed to license properly. So that's at least nice for them. But the one thing that's sort of always bothered me with the Pro Evolution series is obviously the graphical fidelity of it. It just doesn't match up to FIFA. But the soccer games. I'm a huge soccer fan, and I'm sort of in the middle of the road here with these soccer titles because when I turn on FIFA, especially next gen FIFA, everything surrounding the game makes the soccer atmosphere feels fantastic. The crowd, the stadiums, the way the players look, it's so fantastic. But when the game actually starts moving, FIFA is, for as good as it is, and the gameplay is fantastic. I don't want to take anything away from it. It doesn't look like a real soccer match when you're watching somebody play FIFA or you watch yourself play FIFA. It looks nothing like what a soccer match would look like on TV. It's
That's a
fast
good point.
paced. And when you turn on Pro Evolution Soccer, it may look rough around the edges, but when that ball starts moving around the pitch, it looks like soccer. The ball moves with appropriate pace. Players pass the ball appropriately. The ball has appropriate speed to it. It's slower. It looks more organic. And if they could somehow take the the great looks from FIFA, they add the atmosphere, they add the stadium look, the stadium feel. If they could add that stuff in there, I could get over the fact that they don't have the licenses because I think that game would be a better game than FIFA. Because to me, FIFA is for as good as it plays, it doesn't represent the sport as well as Pro Evolution does.
Yeah, I completely agree, and that's the one of the things. The more I watch, the Premier League on Saturday mornings, the more I realize just what you say, Corey. Although I didn't put it as clearly as you did, is that yeah, it doesn't look like what I'm watching on TV. It just doesn't. It looks like a video game, and it's great. It's fun, but yeah, the that's what impressed me the most about Pro Evo, which I did a review for last year, was that it was slower, and even the size of the players in comparison to the pitch, right? They were smaller, and the pitch looked bigger. And when you watch a game on TV, it was more of an appropriate ratio of player size to the field. So they definitely have something there, and that's why I think the game is profitable. I think what they're also doing is being a very insular Japanese development team. They've taken it as far as they can go, and that's why I applaud them. Right? I mean, I'm sure there was much hand wringing, and I cannot imagine the amount of pushing and prodding that had to take place to get a second development studio across the world to help them, or to do whatever they're going to be doing for this game. That was probably the equivalent of moving mountains.
Yeah, and I just looked it up. In 2008 they signed a deal for 4 years, and then the last 2 years they've done 1-year deals with Konami for the Champions League license. Also, we saw this with Pro Baseball Spirits on PS3 and Xbox 360. Konami did put out versions on both consoles, and then at one point they literally just stopped doing it on Xbox because nobody cared about the 360 in Japan. And so far for Pro Evo 15, they've only mentioned a PS4 version and not an Xbox One version. Do you guys think that's just they haven't announced it yet, or with still no release of a PS4, an Xbox One coming to Japan, do you think Konami might end up becoming more of a more of a Sony specific developer?
Well, I mean, Pro Evo is big in Asia and in South America, and Konami is not Electronic Arts. They don't have the resources and the revenues that EA does. So being a Japanese developer and Sony being a Japanese company, Konami's Pro Evo being much more popular in Asia, I could absolutely see them just making this a de facto PS4 game without any other platforms at all. Or, that and maybe the PS3.
Or maybe the PS2 as well. Who knows? I think they made a PS2 version last year. I could be wrong, though. Corey,
probably, because, again, South America is another one of their strong areas, and a lot of PS2s are...
Wasn't it like Brazil has the largest amount of PS2s in the world?
I wouldn't be
like
surprised. Would not be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I think it's not out of the realm of possibility. I think there's, they've always been strong over in Asia, and you also look at what Pro Evolution did with 14 is the licenses they did focus on were licenses in areas where FIFA didn't really focus and where their audience is fairly big. Right. So they looked at ways to sort of make profits in areas where they knew they could sell games. So, and I mean, I think it's not against the possibility this could happen. I mean, Konami, they do have a long-standing relationship with Sony. Obviously, the Metal Gear series for a very long time was Sony only. So, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to see it just because of the Xbox's question marks over in Asia. So, I mean, it's very possible.
Yeah, I still don't think they've even set a release date or even said anything about a Asian release for the Xbox One, which is
And
pretty
like I said,
disappointing.
the Xbox 360 was completely broken for the first month and a half from an online perspective. It took them a long time to get the online stuff working on the Xbox 360 for Pro Evo.
And they could just be running into to developmental, you know, cutbacks as well. You look at how many resources and time they put into Pro Evolution 14 when they changed that game engine. You know, the Fox
Yeah.
engine was a huge undertaking,
Yeah.
and they had to actually cut a lot of things out at the last minute. They had to take a lot of stadiums out.
Rain,
Rain,
Tranquilizer
you know,
darts and
weathers,
boxes.
you know, yeah,
Venezuela's.
yeah, environmental elements obviously was a big cutback for them, and you know, developing an engine in 1 year is hard business, and so I can totally see them, you know, being to the point this year where they want to really focus maybe on one platform, make sure it's great, and then maybe bring in others down the road after they get that sorted out. So
It's a great point. Totally agree.
Actually, you know what's really funny is Metal Gear has really good rain. So it kind of sucks that got taken out. Just in retrospect. Rich, do you have time for one more?
I do.
All right, MLB 14, the show. I don't know if we talked about this last week. I don't remember if we did. I think we did, but we're going to
It's
talk
been a
about
long
it again.
time since you did a show, right? It's been like a month.
Rich, listen, it's been 2 weeks because we've had some scheduling issues with Scott Benz.
Look,
but,
there's no more weekend confirmed. You can't be going on a hiatus.
No, never another hiatus. Every week we're recording this. And since my Skype recorder might not work, we might be doing it live every week. Who knows? MLB 14, the show, the game that may or may never come out. We'll have online franchise when it does, at least. There was a show at the Taipei Game Show that showed MLB 14 on the PlayStation 3. So Operation Sports and a couple places have some images and videos and stuff. And it looks like we'll be getting an online franchise mode in MLB The Show. Rich, if I start an online franchise, are you in?
Nope.
Okay.
And it's not because I don't love the show. It's not because I don't love you. It's just because that sounds like a lot of time and effort that I just won't be able to invest.
Corey, are you in?
I'm definitely in if we can get it to work properly, because I remember I tried to be in last year
Oh
and
my
it
God,
did not work very well.
those were online leagues as opposed to online franchise. The online leagues on PS3 were.
Now, because we know nothing about it, maybe there's ways that you could play games quickly, and
Maybe
I
we could
mean,
use
my God,
the quick
you
count
couldn't-
system.
TJ, you couldn't even manage to play 162 games on your own last year. You're going to do it in a franchise with a bunch of bozos like us? Come on, man.
Hey, I was able to play. Well, I made it through an 87 game season or 82 game season of NHL. Right?
Yeah, an NHL game takes like 20 minutes.
True.
Just allow us to customize the amount of games you play in a season. That's all I ask for. If they could just throw in an off, and I mean MLB, Sony and San Diego are notorious for putting options in their games. So just give us allow us to have like a 28 game season or something, and play that online. If they do that, then I'm totally in. That would be really exciting to do. 160 games is obviously a lot of time management I probably don't have, but I mean, I'd love.
That's the thing. And like the amount of the length of a game, right? Playing a 9-inning baseball game is at least an hour and probably more.
And that's if that's playing against the computer and not having to worry about network issues and slowdowns and
And I'm not trying to be a negative dude. I'm not. I'm trying to be realistic, right? Like baseball is an amazing game. The show is a wonderful franchise. Online franchise, if it's anything like any of the other online franchises that we have in NHL or in Madden, the amount of time that it will take to play the games and the connectivity that you need, pretty daunting.
Yeah.
Predictions. Why have we not heard about this game yet? Why do we not know when it's coming out? Does anyone have any guesses?
Because
I think
I don't know.
Oh, go ahead. Oh,
I was gonna say I don't know if it's their marketing department is sleeping or if they just have literally no idea.
No, I think it's as somebody who builds software, not video games, but somebody who builds software, they're probably just not ready. They probably don't know. And they don't want MLB to have some of the issues that some of the other sports games have had, right? We all know what happened with NBA 2K. Their server troubles, dramatic problems over the course of time. NBA Live was, not good. The game wasn't ready. They're building the launch title for a new platform. It's I cannot even imagine the amount of stuff that they are trying to put in the game to make it a special game. I just think they're not ready. And I think the reason that you're not hearing about the other games is because they're all sort of tied together. Like, we're assuming that you'll be able to move your franchise in Road to the Show from your PS Vita to your PS4 and back and to your PS3, right? Like, I'm sure that there's a whole lot of stuff that they got going on. They're building an online franchise. That's obviously a major undertaking. I just think because they're all tied together and because the PS4 is probably not ready, that's why we're not hearing about it.
But
I'm okay with that. I'm fine with it. It'd be great to know the date, but I'm totally cool if they wait until later on to release the game. If when they release the game, it's worth the wait.
Rich, I can literally tell you everything I know about next gen MLB The Show. There used to be 42 character models in the stands. Now there's 1,000. There's way better hair, and the away scoreboard at Fenway looks good. That's literally all we've heard about PS4 MLB The Show since November, the day that they released everything.
They also an RBI baseball game has been announced, and we've heard nothing about that either. You know what I mean? And look at what happened right before. I mean, they were saying very little to nothing about Madden up until a week or two before it came out on the PS4. Very little to nothing about NBA 2K until right before it came out. This is not out of the ordinary for these next generation launch sports games. I mean, the only game that we knew much about at all was FIFA, and that's because FIFA was just so much further along than anything else, right? So this, to me, just screams that they're not ready. They're probably still not sure everything that's going into the game. They're probably trying to get certain modes. Will it work? Will it not work? I mean, the last thing you want to do is say, online franchise will be in PlayStation 4 and you just can't get it in, right? So to me, I'm fine with it, but obviously I seem to be in the minority.
Well, no, I mean, I agree for the most part. I'm okay if the reasonings for being held back are because the quality control. They want to make sure it's a great game. That's fine. Where my concern is that we haven't heard any communication at this point. People are expecting to see information because I mean, this game is a game that normally launches around March 4th, around those days. So I mean, we're only a few weeks away from that.
Which means it goes gold this week. Last week, it would have already had to.
Yeah, but it's obviously not.
Yes,
not right.
So,
it's not coming out when the last few ones have come out.
Exactly. So I think at this point, all I would wish to see is just some kind of, whether it be a press release saying, "Hey, look, we're coming out a bit later than normal," for whatever reason. And I think when you do that, then that's completely understandable. But right now, the feeling I'm getting, and this is not the case in any sense with this title. But the last time we saw something like this where there was absolutely nothing being said was NBA Live 13. And, where we saw that go wrong is, a week before release, it's getting canceled. I just don't want to get in a situation where, your consumers are out here waiting. Don't leave them waiting until the last second to tell them anything. At least be upfront about it, communicate it. And we've seen titles do this before. I know Watch Dogs was supposed to be a PS4 launch game, and they had to come out a month before and say, "Look, we're not ready." It's not going. And I think once you come out, you're honest with your fans. People understand that, and I think that's understandable. But my second concern is another reason why I'm sort of curious as to why we haven't heard anything is, when I know Pasa Padre did a lot of reporting on this about the universal currency. And I think this could be a situation where this was something that was really built into the game pretty deeply, and maybe they saw the outcry with the NBA
Mm-hmm.
2K, the NBA 2K title, and how much
Mm-hmm.
flack they took for it, and that
Mm-hmm.
could be something that's maybe holding them back now. Maybe they're trying to find a way to take that out, or to
Mm-hmm.
take, so that could be a situation we're looking at as well. And I think that is to me, that's why I think this game is being delayed right now. Yes, I think it's not completely ready, but I also think they had systems in there that were built on basically being online integrated and built on a universal currency system with microtransactions. And I think after the outcry, they're looking at different resources right now.
I couldn't agree more, and that's why I view this as a good thing, not
Yeah.
a bad thing, right? Like I am NBA 2K. I have it's the the game a couple of years ago was the only game that I've ever given a 10 out of 10. Like I have been on board with the NBA 2K franchise for years, and I really feel kind of burned by some of the stuff that they did with their launch PS4 game. I still play it every day, but I only play one mode, and I haven't spent any extra money in the game, right? But so I am a lot of the goodwill that I have for MLB The Show remains, and I am fine if they are doing exactly what you're talking about. I'm also fine if they're trying to make sure that their netcode works because they might have some amazing online features that are planned, but they might not be able to be getting them all worked out. Like there's so many different reasons that they could be in a situation where they're not ready to unveil it. Because the other thing about this is, right, once they do unveil it, you can't just be like, okay, here's the date and here's two things, right? Like once you're ready to announce the game and the features, you got to be ready for the avalanche of questions and media and all that stuff too. So if they just come out tomorrow and they're like, okay, the release date is April 1st, and then they go back in their, back to their cubicles and keep coding, like that's going to cause more problems than it's going to solve. You know what I mean? So I just think I absolutely don't think the marketing department is asleep. I'm pretty sure the VP of marketing is calling the head of development every day. All right, what's the deal? Can we go? Here's the plan. I mean, they've got an entire calendar and a schedule of everything that they're going to do and all this stuff. So, I just think obviously they're not ready, and they're probably killing themselves to get ready because this is a vitally important game from a public relations standpoint. Sony is in a better position right now financially, their games division as well as the company, than they have been in a while. And if the show is a disaster, that would be terrible. I'm not saying the show is going to be a disaster. I don't think it's going to be. But, 2K is a third-party software developer that not only could afford to have the slip-ups that they did, but the game is selling amazingly. If Sony's MLB The Show is anything other than terrific, that would be a very bad precedent for the company. And I just don't think that they want to put themselves in the best possible position. And let's face it, we are the very vocal minority about this. Most people just that have PlayStation 4s know that the show's coming out this spring, and the day that it's in stores, they're going to go pick it up. They're not wringing their hands like we are about this stuff.
And as you know, I spend a little bit of time on Twitter.
Do you actually work, or do you just tweet all day long?
I'm gonna take the fifth on that one. I'm still terrified because it's been 2 weeks since they've even tweeted. Though today, granted, they did retweet CC Spathia. That's been the first activity on the account in 2 weeks.
Well,
and about a month before spring training, they put out a screenshot saying spring training is coming. Check out this MLB 13 The Show screenshot. It's like, how do we not have a screenshot other than one shot of Jason Worth's beard and a shot of a wall?
Well, TJ, it's coming, right? It might not be till April 1st. It might not be till May 1st. It might not be till June 1st. It's coming. We know it's coming.
Does the MLB have a date that this game has to come out on? Like, I know with it was NBA, right? They have to be out. What was it, November 6th or November 2nd or something?
yes, they would probably have a date like that worked in, but those dates, although they are locked in stone, you can get by those. It's just going to cost you a lot of money to do so. Usually, I mean, obviously I can't speak on NBA Live and what happened with that. I do have a bit of personal knowledge on that, but I do know that when you work with licenses like this, they do want things out in stores on a certain date. But, if it's not ready, it's not ready. And, what they do to get by that is there'll probably be a daily or weekly penalty that they have to pay to the MLB until they get that title out. Because every day that title isn't out, the MLB will look at it as lost sales.
Although, and you may be 100% right, I would be shocked if the MLB would do that to Sony, considering the fact that the MLB has had to go build their own game to get it onto the Microsoft platform, to then turn around and do that to Sony. I would be shocked. I don't, while they may be contractually able to do so, that would be a great way to make, one of their only good partners in the game space turn them into a bad partner. I would be surprised if MLB Advanced Media, especially for the first game on the new platform, would be anything other than accommodating with this. Now, moving forward, next year, the year after, maybe not. But I would imagine they probably, and again, I am speaking completely out of my hat, but I would be very surprised if for the launch game on a new platform, they're not going to cut them as much slack as they need.
All right. Then to wrap it up, Rich Grisham, which game launches first, RBI Baseball or MLB 14, the show?
Oh, man. Great question.
That's why I'm the host of That Sports Gamer Show, Rich.
Utterly unprepared. I'm going to say the show.
Corey?
I'm going to say the show will release first, and it will release right around opening day near the end of April.
Opening day is the beginning of April. But
isn't it? Oh. Well.
Actually, opening day is March 22nd, technically.
Well, I'm way off.
In Japan or something?
In Australia.
What?
Yeah, down under, mate.
Who's playing there?
That would be the Dodgers and the someone. You didn't know about this?
I did not know about this.
Crikey.
Really?
I'm almost out of
actual games that count?
That is correct, Rich Grisham.
March 22nd.
I believe that is true.
Lord.
I could literally be making this all up, but I believe I'm not.
I'm sure you are.
The answer is the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks, March 22nd in beautiful Australia.
Wow. How many games?
Just 2.
And then they come back for a lot more exhibition and spring training. That's weird.
They have another week or so of it. I believe the 20... Oh, I'm lying. I'm just lying through my teeth right now. I believe it's the 30th is the first day of regular games.
That is bizarre. I had no idea about this stuff.
Yeah, man. We're starting early. Dodgers-Padres play Sunday the 30th. So...
Yeah, I'm still sticking with the end of April. That's
Baseball's here. I mean, hey, end of April could literally be the actual truth. And if this game comes out after baseball starts, I'm going to be pretty disappointed.
Nah, you're not. You'll be fine.
I mean...
Lots of other stuff to play.
Rich Grisham, this side of my brain that is buy video games to play them, I'm going to be pissed that this game's out after this. Unless the rosters are perfect, which they won't be, because I still have to wait for OS to put out the great rosters.
Nothing is perfect with the launch sports game. Nothing is perfect with the launch anything game.
Right, which is why they got to come out 2 weeks early so OS can do all the rosters and then everybody can be happy. That's the real thing. I want updated rosters with minor league players. And OS can't do that till the games are out. But
I'm just glad I'm not on that team making that game right now because I got a feeling they're working insane hours.
How many do you think we'll get an infographic on how many pizzas they had to order for dinner?
No, I think if anything, the MLB The Show team has looked at the bad tweets and the bad games and the bad online and the outcry from people about all sorts of stuff that they're going to get a lot more right than they are going to get wrong with this launch.
I also, my automated tweets asking them every day when the game's going to come out runs out tomorrow, so I'm going to have to set up some new ones. I think I might start going twice a day and switching up the question, but I don't know. But hey, did you ever notice that if you ever have the CPU, play the CPU in Madden, and you do Seahawks versus Broncos, the Seahawks always win? It's like the thing new. But didn't the official Super Bowl prediction have the Broncos winning?
I think so. Yes.
So weird. It's thinking. You are not ready. Those guys make out of the park baseball? They're making a football game. See that in 2015. We'll talk about that later. NBA 2K14. They put out some patches, updated jerseys. There's a new ball with the new commissioner's name on it. That golf club game is still coming out. NASCAR
Look
14.
for my interview with executive producer Peter Garson on Friday of this week on the Press Row podcast.
Excellent. NASCAR 14, I believe, is a PC-only title that will have online leagues, dynamic field matching, AI, and more.
It is also coming out on the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360.
Is it for real?
It is.
All right. Well, maybe I'll have to play Greg Stewart in that since we're having so much fun in the Player One podcast.
Online leagues.
Yeah.
They got them.
What else? WWE 2K15 coming out for Xbox One and PS4. I'm excited. Obviously, you guys are. Next gen wrestler hair, guys. What else? Did you guys know that 2.8 million games of Madden were played on New Year's Eve? What? Is that true? Madden 2.5 games on New Year's Eve? Yeah, 2.8 million games were played on New Year's Eve. Amazing, right?
I think I probably might have been one of them.
18 billion minutes of FIFA were played between October and December.
I was definitely one of them.
And in real life, there was only 11,430 minutes of Premier League played in that time. What else we got here? 100 million games of NHL were played between October and November.
I was definitely one of them.
Hey, Rich, you know the Alabama Crimson Tide?
I do know them, yes.
Them versus Oregon was the number 2 matchup in NCAA football.
Might see that next year for the national championship game.
Yeah, possibly.
How high was the Toronto Argonauts on that list? Were they out there?
They were close, a little bit lower. Number 3 was Oregon versus Florida State, and number 1 was Oregon versus Ohio State, which could also be a national championship thing, I think.
Nah.
I don't know. Well,
no.
We won't get to sim that, so who knows. NBA Heat. NBA Heat? Sounds like it should be the Baywatch Nights kind of thing for NBA. In NBA Live, the most popular team was Miami Heat. Duh. Number 2, Oklahoma City Thunder. Duh. The Lakers were number 3. Chicago Bulls. I guess they didn't take what's his name out of the game, so...
Now. I'm pretty sure they did eventually.
Golden State Warriors were number 5.
Steph Curry.
Did you know December 26th was the most popular day for play on Origin? There were over 350 million game sessions.
That makes sense.
Makes sense. Mm-hmm.
All right. Did you know that you can follow me on Twitter at ThatSportsGamer? You can like me on Facebook, facebook.com/ThatSportsGamer. Rich Grisham.
Yo.
If you were to write about things and possibly vocalize other things, where could people find that on the internet?
My favorite, one of my favorite things in the world, the Press Row podcast, brought to you by the fine people from Operation Sports.
Damn fine.
Pretty much every week, although every 2 weeks is the panel show. Every other week, usually the hangout, TJ, which you've been joining us on regularly, as well as interviews, as I mentioned. The Golf Club's Peter Garson coming up, the NASCAR 14 guys coming up, the MLB The Show guys coming up at some point. They have committed to coming on the show, which is going to be awesome.
Ooh, excellent.
So
don't tell them I'm that guy sending all the tweets.
Trust me, I'm going to put your picture up when I'm talking to them, so they know that.
Can I hijack the call? You. I'm like, what is the deal, gentlemen? This is ridiculous.
I'm pretty sure they won't come on until they've announced the date, so you won't have any.
Maybe that.
You can also read me on Games Radar. We just did a Gran Turismo 6 challenge guide, which TJ you helped me with because I couldn't do them.
I mean, it almost killed me, but yeah, that happened. Let's get serious. There should not be drifting in Gran Turismo.
No, there should not. There should not. You could read up coming up in about a week a review that I'm doing for Games Radar about a certain car racing circuit that I'm supposed to be on. Basically not talking about right now, so we'll just leave that out there. And also in @Gamer and OXM and all sorts of good stuff. So check it out and follow me on Twitter @Rich Grisham.
Corey, a good bro as you are, where could we follow you on the internet?
You can definitely find me on goodgamebro.com with my
You guys are
my
doing some good stuff over there, by the way. Good
I
stuff.
really appreciate it. I'm working with three other wonderfully gifted gentlemen, and we've banded together to make this site, and it's really blowing up. We're really happy with the success it's had so far. We're really sort of hitting everybody from every angle that we can. We've been writing articles. Our YouTube channel's blowing up. We have a great social coordinator, so we have a guy putting out tweets consistently. Getting some big responses. We actually had a Premier League team retweet some of our tweets during the season there. So it's been really exciting. We have a lot of great stuff planned for the spring games. Obviously, we have golf club coming out, UFC, MLB, lots of plans there. So check me out there. Check out our YouTube channel, Good Game Bro.com. Good Game Bro was taken. So check out that. And you can follow me on Twitter at Corey SA. Corey with an E, by the way.
And I'll have the all the links and stuff will be in the show notes below this, which is also where you can comment, or you can also send an email to feedback@thatsportsgamer.com. You can rate and review the show on iTunes. I believe you can rate and review on Stitcher as well. I recommend you do that. That's good for something. I don't know what it is. That's Scott's job. He's never figured it out. I don't know what he's doing. Make sure.
You know what he's not doing.
Well, yeah. I mean, it seems fairly easy. You know what I think it is? I think the more rates and reviews is what gets you onto those things.
Featured.
Yeah, that featured stuff. Also, since if I can ever get this recording thing figured out right again, make sure you follow twitch.tv/thatsportsgamer, where we might be doing the show randomly. And youtube.com/thatsportsgamer for a bunch of great video content. I say it's great because I did it, so it's obviously true. And if we can ever get Greg Seward together, we can finally record another episode of That Sports Gamer's Retro Roundtable.
Yeah.
Because I would love to talk about RBI baseball.
Mm-hmm.
But Greg, Canadians, I don't think there was a Canadian team in the game. Maybe Toronto was in there. I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
So, that's probably why. Maybe we should have figured that out before. We need a baseball game with Canadians. So, that's probably our problem. I think that's about it. Oh, what's that golf game called? Golf Club. There's an outside chance I'm going to get into the closed beta, which means I can't talk about it. So, good and bad there. Hopefully, I'll know. I did learn that there will not be checkerboard courses. I was pretty disappointed. I was watching the Phoenix Open, and it had a checkerboard course, and I was like, oh, that looks so cool. And then I said, yo, can there be checkerboard courses? They said, no.
You were watching the Phoenix Open, TJ.
Yeah, it was on before the Super Bowl. What was I supposed to watch? The pre-game? There's the pre-game. There's the pre-pre-game, the pre-game, the pre-kick, the pre-coin toss.
When are you going to have kids, for God's sakes? Please.
Doing all this while playing with my niece. So, one hand for the baby, one hand for the Twitter, and the eyes on the TV.
Whenever I see somebody on Twitter mention how they're going to take a nap or go back to sleep, I automatically think,
Rich,
yeah, they don't have kids.
That snow was so heavy, I had to dig out a little walkway so my dogs could poop.
Oh, I saw it.
And then I slept for 5 hours afterwards.
Yeah, I have to. I live on a corner, so I have to shovel the entire sidewalk for all the kids to wait for the bus. And that snow, that heavy water-logged snow, pretty much killed me. So.
Yeah, it was snow joke.
So your little 1.5 feet of room for your dogs was no match for my 50 feet of sidewalk. So.
I think I'm gonna buy a snowplow at some point. Not a snowplow.
A snowplow.
That would help.
That's an investment.
That would help. I think I'm gonna get a snowblower type
I got
deal.
one. So.
You got one? Then why are you complaining about this whole thing that you got to do?
Because it's too big. It's massive.
Oh, that's the problem. Too much power.
It is. It's like it's dragging me along into the street. It's a whole thing going on.
I got one for Christmas and I broke it already because it was about minus 40 here, and I tried to pull the stringy thing to start it, and it literally ripped in half.
Yep, that's bad.
Then it got sucked back in, and now it's gone, right?
It's pretty much done. So I got to take that and get it repaired because I'm not shoveling any more snow.
And of course, it's just so easy to take a massive snowblower, load it up, and bring it to the repair place.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, super easy.
It's no joke. Those things are heavy. Guys, thanks for Putin on a good show with me this week.
Oh, that's terrible.
Come on. I had some really good Sochi. Yeah, whatever that place is called. Putin Sochi jokes earlier. I don't know if you guys saw them.
One last thing, TJ.
Sure.
Actually, two last things quickly. I
Excellent.
want to record this. I'm going to say one word, Buffalo. It has no relevance to you right now. It will in a week. So in a week on your show, I expect to hear your experiences with the word Buffalo.
Buffalo, little known fact, is my favorite Canadian city.
What?
For the longest time, I thought Buffalo was in Canada. Because it's weird
Well,
that the New York sports teams that play football are in New Jersey, and I thought Buffalo was in Canada. I thought the state of New York had nobody playing for them.
yeah. And second last thing I want to say, or sorry, my last thing I want to say is I got to give you credit because you gave me a lot of redemption the last few weeks. You beat Pasta Padre twice in our Press Row podcast league. It gave me a little bit of redemption being a Niners fan. So thank you. I hold that close to my heart. That's it.
Oh, that's what I'm doing here. I do this thing called passing the ball around to multiple receivers. It's weird. You guys should try it sometime. Rich Grisham,
Yo,
thank you very much for joining me tonight.
thank you for having me, TJ. As always, a lot of fun.
Corey Andrus.
Thank you very much for having me, TJ. You guys have a great week.
And I said your name right again. That's two.
And we're all getting on airplanes this week, going to different places. So let's all be safe out there. All right.
That should be fun. Hopefully we all get safe. And then we should do this again sometime, possibly next weekend.
Sounds good.
Sounds great.
All right. Thank you guys very much for joining me. And thank you, gentlemen and ladies, for listening to the show. Hopefully
Ladies?
I'm sure there's got to be at least one or multiple. If you're a lady that listens to the show, hit me up on Twitter at ThatSportsGamer. Also, hit up Rich Grisham at Rich Grisham and say, hey, I listen to this show because I love sports games. Kat might listen. See?
Okay. Good point. Well done.
All right. So we'll see you guys again next week on another episode of That Sports Gamer Show.